Trump demands lower interest rates now. I'm going to show you why mortgage rates are still high, whether Trump is partly responsible, why Iran may be trumping almost everything right now, what Kevin Warsh and Scott Bessent can actually do about it, and what needs to happen for mortgage rates to finally fall. Hey everyone, my name is Kenny Simpson. If we never met, I focus on 1 to 4 unit financing. Whether you're buying, refining a 1 to 4 unit property, I am your guy. I've been doing about over 20 years, helped over 5,000 clients, funded $1 billion of loans. And if you haven't seen me out there, I shoot videos like this just to help you, the consumer, the audience, my clients, people that watch me, to help understand what is going on out there in this crazy world. How do we break it down? How does it make sense? And what does it really matter? And how does it affect real estate? Like today, we're talking about interest rates. So anyways, back to the video. But if I can help you, anybody, let me know. Always reach out. And also share this video with somebody, like, subscribe. We'd love to hear your comments. Data does not lie. I've been doing this for about 20 years, doing loans, actually over 20 years. And I watch this new stuff and what's going on at the market daily because it affects rates, it affects my clients, and ultimately it affects my business. So why would I not be paying attention? And I create content like this because I care about my clients, the industry, rates, and what's really happening out there and what we can expect. This is not about Trump. And Trump is not the real reason why interest rates are going up or any other president in the office. Trump is not the reason why interest rates are going up or any other president in the office. But any administration's policies, decisions, and events around the world could change things like that. Remember COVID? So that's why having the information of what's going on, what's really causing interest rates to go up, because if you have to make a move like refi today, purchase today, or maybe you're thinking about selling something or selling your home and trading up to a different home, rates make a huge difference with affordability, that payment, and ultimately, if you're gonna make a move or not. So why are interest rates so high? We were promised, right? When Trump came in, we're gonna get those rates down. Well, we know inflation was lower and then it came up. Tariffs, right? And then this thing called the Iran war. As we started this year off, rates were looking good. Here comes the Iran conflict. And unfortunately, I think Trump thought this was going to be finished like this. And now he's realizing what was supposed to take 45, 60 days has now dragged on to the later part almost of this year. And we're going to be in the third quarter before we know it. September, October, November. Let me redo that part. And so this Iran thing, Trump thought was going to take 45, 60 days. Now we're already third quarter of this year. And there's really no plan, there's no negotiation, there's nothing concrete to show this is going to end soon. But also on top of that, we have jobs, consumer spending, GDP, all that stuff affects interest rates. But Iran thing right now will trump it all. So a lot of the questions people want to know, did Trump make this worse? Well, he didn't make it better. The tariff thing did not turn out to be the way it was. The tariff thing, I'm not going to say it was a total bust. A lot of people don't understand it, but I can tell you the tariff thing definitely put a damper and caused interest rates to go higher because it freaked out people where they thought inflation was going to go much higher. Even though it didn't, still made interest rates go higher. Then this Iran thing. Were we supposed to really go to war? Is this really what we wanted to do? Is this really the smart thing to do? Maybe we'll know in the future, but right now, I could tell we all know that this is causing inflation to go up, not down. So this is causing a lot of anxiety with politicians, with the global stage, with the Fed, with everybody. So this is making people pull back. This is making people go, rates going to go lower, higher? So much uncertainty with this Iran thing. It's just getting more and more out of control because we don't know when it's going to end. And that does not help the bond market, treasuries, the Feds, and just the everyday person think, do I want to go make a move right now with all this craziness in the world? So Kevin Warsh, the new Fed chairman, and Scott Bessent, the new Treasury. And if you don't know who Scott Bessent is, he's this guy right here. The guy that just came out and said, hey, I'm going to start basically curving the long end yield of the 30-year bond, which I'm not going to get into. So basically, he's just taking money that he has access to and basically trying to manipulate the markets to ease rates down. Is it working? Not really. He's the one that just announced this week about all the new sanctions they're going to do Iran to try to squeeze them. And so basically they went out to every single person and found every account and all that sends money to Iran, and they're cutting it all off. So hopefully they get Iran crawling on their knees and saying, okay, we'll take a deal and we'll stop. Will they stop? Who really knows? This thing could go on forever. But those two gentlemen have a lot of power. Why? Because they have weapons at their disposal. No, they're not a bazooka or a nuclear or a drone or a missile or a gun or a knife. they've got a thing which they have called liquidity. And they can move that around. They can use their mouth to say what they're going to do, but ultimately they have power to move markets. They can move rates up, they can move rates down, they can make rates flat, they can pump money into the system, they can take money out of the system. There's so many things to do. So could they ultimately manipulate rates? Absolutely. That's what Scott Bessent is trying to do. Is Warsh in a place right now in a position where he's going to cut rates? Probably not. Why is he not cutting? Well, there's other Fed officials, and now Trump's blaming them, saying that's why we're not cutting. And we're not cutting really is because of Iran. Because when you look at the jobs market, when you look at the consumer, when you look at inflation, it's actually not, inflation is not as bad as they thought it would be. The jobs market is not doing well at all the last data. And inflation is slowly coming back down. It's not going as high as we thought. And then the consumer, well, we know the consumer slowing because that's you and I. And GDP, it's kind of lukewarm. So the economy overall is not doing that great. But with this Iran disaster and conflict in place right now, because it is a disaster, so we don't have an end, it's not helping us cut rates or get rates down or bring stability into the bond market, to the trading market, to the Feds and everybody else. There is good news in all of this, though. Rates would be a lot worse. If you remember back in 23 when rates almost hit 8%, and if you look back, you're like, wait a minute, the 10-year treasury is this close. Why are rates not close to 8%? Because there's a thing that I talked about at least 20 times on probably videos and reels and blogs. And we actually just wrote about it this week in my newsletter, is about spreads between the 10-year treasury and 30-year fixed. That spread has significantly come down because certain confidence that brings spreads down and come back in the markets over the last few years. So if it was not for the spreads coming down, interest rates could be a half a point, 75 basis points, a point higher. So it could be a lot worse right now. So yeah, that is actually really good news. So we don't really know when rates are going to go down, if they're going to go down, but let's be honest, they should go down. They should go down when this Iran conflict ever comes to an end. They should go down when oil prices can calm down. They should go down when the bond market feels like, hey, okay, we're on the other side of this Iran war. We've got some negotiation. The oil markets are going to calm down. And when they start looking past Iran and start looking back into the data that we look at every week and going, the jobs market's not doing well. The consumer's not doing well. GDP not doing very well. Inflation is actually not as bad as we thought. Even though it's higher than we want it to be, it's actually not as bad and slowly coming down. And last but not least, the one big factor that is we talked about last week in this video was about what's really a big driver of deflation. And it's wages. So wage growth has just come down. So that means the money that we're making for the average person, it's less and less. So the 4.2% we were at is dropped to 3.2. That's 1%, doesn't seem much. That's a huge deal. So basically wage growth is actually growing slower and slower, which is deflationary, which is not good because you have less money to spend, but it does bring inflation down because if you don't have the dough, you ain't got the flow and you ain't gonna spend it. So as we always talk about these videos and how we're gonna end, what's gonna go on with the rate game, it's really simple, is that Scott Bessent, you can see him out here. He is going to go out on his own. He's acting on his own. He's going to do whatever he can to try to keep these rates down. Warsh has this whole, Warsh is not independent. Warsh has a whole committee he has to abide to and talk to, and they have to basically vote as a group. But Scott Bessent, he's got a whole war chest. He has $1 trillion that he can go put to work. So whether you agree with him or not agree with him, he will try to keep rates lower. We have the midterms coming up. If he can bring them down, he'll bring them down. Scott Bessent, Kevin Warsh, Trump, and everybody else in the real estate industry, they would love interest rates to go down. So we will see what happens. That's the latest update. But for now, let's just hope this Iran conflict comes to an end soon so we can get rates back down to something reasonable so we can get this real estate market moving again. Because right now, it's not moving much at all.